I'll be rich until they got the rhythm and the hype. Talking about the noise brigade, stirring up noise all night. They dive deep into the madness. No topic left unturned, from corn dog to Johnny Bench. It's the knowledge we have learned, LRG have learned. LRG shipping woes, they shed light on it all. No cryptids left unknown, they'll tear down every wall. The rebels of the podcast world, breaking all the rules, giving voice to the unheard, making sure no one falls. From wrestling to mysteries, they cover it.
I mean, it's a perfect that you don't know what's going on because none of us know what's going on either. So,
No, not at all. It's not like we don't want to miss a thing.
Oh, boo, boo,
Dream on, Tom.
boo earns.
I'm not crying about it.
Stop being a flaming Mo.
That was so funny. You had me crying.
Oh man. Yeah, Bob, you shot me and Rich a message and made a lot of sense. We needed to dedicate an episode to Aerosmith, and like you said, before we started recording, Steven Tyler, well, apparently he's got some vocal injuries, so he's done.
Yeah.
So why not have an episode dedicated to only Aerosmith? So I don't know.
Yeah. It was originally going to be, let's talk about the 5 most overrated songs that we thought of, but then once we heard the news about Aerosmith, we decided to just talk about Aerosmith.
Yeah, and coincidentally, if you asked a lot of people that question, I would almost guarantee you that an Aerosmith song might even show up on that list.
I'm not gonna lie, there was 1 or 2 that I bandied about throwing on the list, and I was like, nah, there's worse. There's worse offenders.
So we decided to do our top 5 Aerosmith songs. We didn't discuss anything prior as far as our likes or dislikes or whatever with any of these songs. I don't know that any of us have ever sat down and had a conversation about Aerosmith in the decades that we've all known each other. So,
Richie and I have, because we went back and forth when 9 Lives came out, because we were playing the little pre-Guitar Hero that came out on that back in the day.
And
Did you ever play with that?
No, I remember that though. But I don't remember messing around with that though.
And you could actually order a guitar pick controller to play the game with.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Who wants to start though? Top 5 Aerosmith songs. Personal choices. Who wants to go for their first one? Anybody?
I'll go. This is in no particular order. It was off the top of my head, but I'm gonna go with Train Kept Rolling.
So, any particular reason why that one just kind of jumps out at you as one of your faves, or
it's just one of my favorites? It's just it's Aerosmith at their best, just fucking rocking out, dude.
Cool.
As cheesy as that sounds, it just really is. Like, there's some really good guitar riffs, there's some really good guitar solos, and it's just a good song.
And I'd be remiss if we said here, Aerosmith's been around for a long time. I think we probably should have, mentioned that up front. We're talking about a 50+ year history of music here. So, I mean, the band's been active since 1970. So we're covering a lot of bases here, a lot of ground, a lot of, even though they're considered a rock band, they jump through some different genres at times too with different music. So, just Rich, what about you? What's one that sticks out at you?
Yeah, I want to go back a little bit. I just looked up. He's when I say he, Steven Tyler 76, which is still younger than Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. Who are still touring in their 80s. But we got to go back to when we listened to Aerosmith. That was like their second or third comeback. Like they had their big run in the 70s, and they died out for a while. Um, and then they were brought back by Walk This Way with Run DMC, which is the original Walk This Way isn't, but when you add the Run DMC in there, it's pretty good. Obviously,
Yeah,
they rekindled their.
Yeah, kind of right. It jumped them into our generation ish. You know, we were what that was what
86.
we were really young, but you're right. And and I'll just piggyback off that. That is my all-time favorite Aerosmith song, and just because of exactly what you just said, Rich. That one kind of got me into who is this band? But not only that, it also opened me up to Run DMC at the same time. So I went down that road as well. So what a great collaboration. I know that you still, see a lot of collabs these days, but it's you'd be hard pressed to find one better than that, especially for someone, again, Rich, like you said, kind of reinvigorating, regenerating your comeback again, so it's cool. Yeah, that's my all-time favorite Aerosmith song. So I'll that's my number one. So I already
like without that, we probably wouldn't have gotten when did Get a Grip come out? Like that's their big album that I remember.
Get a Grip was somewhere between 91 and 93. Right?
I hope it's 92 based on what you just said, because I said that too. I just said 92 and you said somewhere between 91 and 93.
Yeah.
But since Tom took my thing with that one, I'm going to go back to I'm not going to look up when it was. So either the late 70s or early 80s, there was a movie called Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Band, where you have all the Beatles music done by the Bee Gees and Peter Frampton and Alice Cooper and the guy that George Burns and Billy Preston and some little band from Massachusetts called Aerosmith or other, where they did a cover of "Come Together," which I think is better than the Beatles version. They just kind of took the Beatles, 60s hits. It was okay, but they really just kind of put the whole blues thing on. It's just made it. They were also in the movie, rather. They were the evil villain band. I just said that too. Or the evil villain band. Or Aerosmith, yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny that you just said that, I took your spot because you just took another one of mine. So, again, I agree with you 100%. Come Together, their cover, again, it'd be difficult to find, a better version of that song. And I'm a big Beatles person. That's how I grew up. My mom was
nothing against Beatles at all. But,
yeah. I agree. But what's funny is that neither of those songs are on my list.
You don't have Walk This Way or Come Together on yours.
No,
wow. So there's two of mine. So we can just kind of circle right back to you then, Bob.
So I'm going to go. My second is, again, no particular order. Toys in the Attic.
That's a good song. I didn't think about that one.
And again, it's just another hard rocking song, some good riffs, and it's just a good song, man.
Trying to think, when did that come out?
That was one of the 70s.
Yeah, I was trying to think of I've got to look that one up because it was in my mind as a potential, probably not my top 5, just a song I thought about, kind of in passing when putting this together, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, 75. Yep. So yeah, that was mid 70s. All right, Rich, what about you?
Trying to think of other going back to Brigade and Aerosmith were big. Of course, we had the arcade hit Revolution X.
Yes,
and the one song that I remember coming out of that over and over and over again, at least 3 seconds of it in samples, is "Eat the Rich." And "Eat the Rich" a very entertaining song. That's the only thing they're very good for.
That actually almost made my list. There's another song off that album that made the list, but that was a very close. That would have been like number 6.
I totally forgot about the Revolution X thing. Even thinking about this, that's great. What a great memory, because that was such a cool, like, I don't know, that's a cool experience, that game.
Oh, dude, yeah, I played the hell out of that in the arcade in Ocean City.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
My dad ordered it out of a magazine for me, and for the computer, and It was one of the things where I think it was like vaporware when we ordered it. Like it said it was out, but it wasn't out, and then we totally forgot about it. And maybe like 2 years later, it just showed up on the door. Like, what? Okay, and that was fun.
I had that. I walked into like a Babbage's or something in Virginia Beach and snagged it for like $10.
I think it's quite funny, Rich, what you just said, because apparently Limited Run Games wasn't the first people to do it.
This is true. There you go.
Yeah, that's been happening to you your whole life, huh?
Yeah, no, it's cool. You just, thinking about that one night, you're right, Bob. You mentioned the arcade Ocean City, and if I'm not mistaken, wasn't that also kind of a front and center game at the Deptford Mall arcade?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I remember seeing that quite a bit. Good memories. Very good memories.
If you could find all the band members hidden throughout the thing, you get to see them do a live concert at the end. Wow.
Yeah.
No, that's cool, man. Good. That's just, I don't know. I always appreciate the good memories. That's why I love doing this pod. Another one for mine. I'm gonna go with one that's more from a reason of a movie, and more for a reason that it's sung by one Mr. Chris Evans as Jake Weiler, as Janie's Got a Gun, but in Not Another Teen Movie. And that's what really stuck to me, because I love the song anyway, but of course, him covering it and watching her get tased by security guards is just absolutely fantastic in that film. But no, that's always been one of my favorite Aerosmith songs. It actually has a little instrumental piece up front called the Water Song that leads into Janie's Got a Gun. So yeah, definitely, I couldn't put a top 5 without that one in there. Just because it, for one, elicits so many fond memories of watching a very funny movie, but then at the same point, I've always liked the song too. So it was just perfect for me. I had to put it in the top 5.
So now that one actually, had I gone through with it, that was one of the songs that I almost put on my most overrated songs list.
There's I don't know if we want to go there, but if there's an overrated Aerosmith song, it's the one from fucking Armageddon.
Yeah.
I can't even think what it's called right now, but yeah.
Don't want to miss a thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's so much overrated with that song, other than the fact that it was one, overplayed, but then 2, his own daughter's in the movie. So let's just,
Well, that's gonna come up later in one of my picks.
I'll tell you what, the best thing about that song isn't in Armageddon. It's that it's in Saints Row 4 Reelected.
Oh.
In the beginning, you're climbing on a nuke, and you're literally climbing up the nuke as it's in flight, and that song's playing as you're trying to dismantle it. I lost it. I was dying.
That's fantastic. Oh man. Yeah, no, I had to go with that one, Janie's. So whatever. All right. Bob,
back to me. All right, so I'm going to go another one that Rich might have on one of his, Kings and Queens.
I do like that song, but no.
Wow.
No, I got one weird pick, and then for a video.
So yeah, Kings and Queens. It's different than the other two. More of more chill than the first two that I said. But I just really enjoy it. So I don't really have much, like, I can't really speak to the songs more than, yeah, dude, I really like them for most of them. So I'm kind of boring on this one. I'm just giving tracks for people to check out.
Yeah, no, that one almost made my top 5. So I dig it. I went with more sentimental stuff on mine, I think, rather than, and I mean, obviously, like the ones I'm gonna know aren't deep cuts anyway, because I wasn't like a huge, not that Kings of Queens is a deep cut necessarily, but I wasn't a huge Aerosmith fan, so I was always going to be kind of at the singles listings, if you will. So, I kind of agree. I'm going to be just as boring for that reason. It's like, hey guys, walk this way. Rich, I guess you're up.
From like my oddball pick, I got to see Aerosmith once, and they were okay. It wasn't the greatest show I ever saw. Even back then, it wasn't the greatest show I ever saw. Steven Tyler just kind of stands there with his scarves and does the songs. But I got to see them during the Nine Lives tour, and that was like just, I guess it was one of the albums that I just happened to have at the time at the right age, so I like listened to it over and over and over again. And I guess the biggest one off of that was Pink, and Pink's probably more overrated than great, so I'm not going to pick Pink. I like A Taste of India because it's kind of got that weird Beatlesy kind of, oh, we're in the Indian music thing. But my favorite one off of it, and the one that would be my pick, would be Something's Gotta Give. I think that's my favorite one off of it. That's also, I think, the Do the Voices in My Head Bother You? Didn't they use that as the title of their autobiography or their biography or something?
Yeah, something like that. No, that's a great song, and Ain't That a Bitch is another really good song.
Oh, yeah, that is a good one. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. No, that's cool. I never saw Aerosmith live, so that's cool.
That was my first concert.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm. On the Nine Lives tour.
It was my second. The same uncle took me to see Page and Plant when they did their reunion thing, so that was my first one. That was cool.
Nice.
It was like my aunt's ex.
Was your Nine Lives tour, was that the one where Monster Magnet opened for him?
I honestly don't remember who opened for them. It was at the E Center. I remember that, and we had lawn seats, and it was hot.
Okay. Yeah. Was yours a daytime concert or a nighttime?
I think it was a weekend.
Okay. So, all right. So then we weren't at the same show. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Wow, we really, yeah. Yeah, no, I never saw Aerosmith live. And so Rich, you said Page and Plant were your first?
Yeah.
Bob was Aerosmith. And mine was Paul McCartney. So we all kind of hit some legends there for the first concert. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So for my next one, I'm going to skip over because I already did Walk This Way. That was kind of my, I was talking to Danielle about this. I was just curious. One of hers, and I just got hers. She didn't have a top 5, but she, her favorite was Crying. Although she sung I Don't Want to Miss a Thing for pageants many years ago. And she made a comment that when she was going through vocal lessons that, with I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, that her vocal coach had to drop the range because Danielle's voice was lower than Steven Tyler's.
That checks out.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny. But no, so Crying was her honorable mention. That'll take my spot on this one because I've already kind of gone through 2 of them. So I'll hold my last one for the final round. So
that's why Danielle's going to have a voice when she gets older, as Steven Tyler isn't.
Yeah, well, her singing is now relegated to car and shower and very like maybe every other decade karaoke. So
Steven Tyler credit too. Like everyone gives Keith Richards a lot of shit for doing a lot of drugs, but Steven Tyler was just in rehab a couple of years ago, like in his 70s. So
Yeah.
More power to him.
All right. So is it me again, or is it Rich?
yeah, no, we're back
Me?
to you, I guess. Are
All
we?
So we got two left.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go with Ragdoll, which is probably the most poppy one on my list.
Oh yeah, that song. Oh yeah, that's right. It's on Big Ones, isn't it?
It's on Big Ones, and I think it was originally on Pump.
Oh yeah. You're right. Yeah, 87.
Yeah.
It was on. No,
But
I
Big,
just
Big Ones is where I was introduced to it.
yeah. That's why I said it. I figured that's kind of where it came from. So, in my head, anyway.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. That's a good one. And I'm glad you're kind of bringing up some of these songs. So I need to throw some of these back in a playlist or something just to, kind of get reintroduce myself.
Oh, I just re-listened to after we did all the talk about Aerosmith. I listened to Big Ones while I was doing some work on Friday. It was some decent coding music.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, Rich, you're up, man.
Okay. I want to give an honorable mention to Dream On. Dream On is probably my favorite Aerosmith song, but it doesn't. Okay. Honorable mention to Dream On. What's that? I was just thinking of another one. Something wrong in the world today. Don't know what it is. One where he's talking about rape, stuff like that. I want to give honorable mention to that one just because of how cheesy it is. Living on the Edge.
Living on the Edge.
Yeah.
I had to sing it to get it to it.
But my favorite one, and it's a very good song, but it's definitely my favorite because of the video. And that is, of course, Crazy, where we have schoolgirl Steven Tyler, schoolgirl Liv Tyler, and Alicia Silverstone running away together to play hooky and rape some farm guy on a tractor and do a striptease. Again, let's put this out there. There's an Aerosmith video with Aerosmith playing where his daughter is doing these striptease on the stage.
But didn't they not know that she was his daughter until after
There's
that?
No way he didn't know that she was his daughter. I know he did a lot of drugs, but
yeah. Daniel actually talked about that earlier, and I don't know what the timeline was there. I don't really know.
Damn, that'd be exactly like me.
That'd be a fun deep dive, I guess, because I really don't know. But
I don't know. Was Bebe Buell her mom? I met Bebe Buell at one of them horror conventions. I got her autobiography, but I haven't read it. I felt bad, so I bought her book.
I think that was her mom.
Yeah, but the story is, she banged Steven Tyler, and then Todd Rundgren, and that's the one that raised Liv Tyler for a while.
Yeah, Todd Rundgren raised her.
Like, wow, you look exactly like me, but you have a vagina.
Pretty much. All right.
Yeah, Rich, you said a song there that kind of made me think. And Dream On is on my list, but and I went back and forth with a few songs. But one that what's that?
You have some vocal range.
Yeah, I just really like that song. If someone just came up to me on the street and said, "Hey, top 5 Aerosmith songs," Dream On is going to be on that for me. But you saw also Living on the Edge, and I really, man, Get a Grip was like right at the time I really started listening to music, just by the album, because that's what we had.
Judge a wise man by the color of his skin, and brother, you're a better man than I. Living on the Edge. Yeah, and I just really dig that song, and so I'm gonna kind of sub that one in, even though Dream On, yes, top 5 for me. So I'm cheating a little bit, but Living on the Edge, man, for me, it's such a great song. I, for whatever reason, is kind of bypassed it in my mind for a top 5. But again, recalling good memories of listening to stuff back when we were 10, 11, 12 years old.
man, it's just a great album. That's a fantastic song, and I don't care that it's anyone says it's overplayed or whatever. It's just one of those songs. It's just a great song. I love it.
Yeah.
So no, I'm subbing it in. I'm putting it in my heart. Dream On's there, but for the purposes of our pod, I'm putting Living on the Edge.
There you go. Well, that was the first cassette single that I bought for myself. Was Living on the Edge, and the first 2 albums I got on cassette when I got my Walkman for Christmas, they got me Big Ones and Get a Grip. So those were the two first cassette tapes I had in my Walkman.
I don't remember my first 2 cassette tapes, but my first 2 CDs when I got my first CD player were Queen's Greatest Hits and Aerosmith's Greatest Hits Live.
Oh, I remember my first 2 cassette tapes. Oh yeah, I had MC Hammer. Please Hammer Don't Hurt Him.
I had that. And
I had the one, the only Vanilla Ice.
I own that too. It's just you had them.
Those were my first 2 tapes.
Well, my final song on my list actually comes from Get a Grip also. Fever.
Oh, yes. That's a good one.
And that one ended up getting picked up by some country artists. I don't remember who, but somebody ended up playing it at halftime of like a Thanksgiving game one year. But to me, it'll always be an Aerosmith song.
Garth Brooks picked it up, I believe. Was it him?
I think so. That sounds about right. All them country guys blend together for me.
Yeah, I believe it was him. I could be wrong. No, great song though. Great song.
Yeah. But I couldn't put Boogeyman on there, but that one is a really good song too. But Boogeyman's just like basically an instrumental. That's off of Get a Grip also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's that whole album's actually just fantastic. It's hard to. That's one of the few things. Like I don't deep dive in Aerosmith, so I don't know like all the early tracks necessarily that are maybe not the singles or whatever. That was one of the albums that I did dive into. Been a long time. I haven't really just listened to it through recently, but it's a great album though. So yeah, no, I definitely agree with Fever, and man, yeah, that whole album's just so good. Rich, I guess you're up to your last one.
I thought I did them all. If I didn't, did anybody say Sweet Emotion yet? I'll say
Nope.
Sweet Emotion.
Solid pick.
Yeah, it's that definitely was. That was one that I was kind of going back and forth on because I was like, I love that song, but I don't know that I can. It's a great song though. It's a good beach song.
Yeah.
Sitting on the beach, beer in your hand, staring at the water. It
was like a 3-disc set called Pandora's Box. That was like early singles and. Was it cover songs or just early singles? It was really good though. Like that's where I heard Train Kept It Rolling, and 10-inch was on one of the versions that was on there.
10-inch is such a good song too.
Yeah, no, it's funny. So, I'm thinking about, my last one. And like I said, I kind of went the sentimental stuff. And this one, man, and I don't want to tear up or anything. I don't talk about her a whole lot, but my mom was a huge fan of Mrs. Doubtfire, and particularly the Aerosmith song "Dude Looks Like." Can't say that. My mouth is screwed up. Dude looks like a lady. and I could not include that in my top 5 if it weren't for her. So completely sentimental. You know, my mom, you know, has been gone for 15 years now, and there's certain things that will stick with me. And so the minute Bobby texted me and Rich and said, "Hey, we're going to do an Aerosmith thing," you know, instead of doing our overrated songs, that was like point blank emotionally the first song that came to my mind. And and only for the sheer fact that because it made me think of my mom, you know, and you know, I don't get teary eyed and weepy eyed or anything. And you know, take the song for what it is, whatever. But it just, you know, it elicits good memories for me, you know, and she loved it. And the scene in Mrs. Doubtfire with that song is fantastic. So yeah, that was it for me. I mean, not my favorite Aerosmith song for sure, but it's in my top 5 because of my mom. So yeah, no, that's in there for me, for sure. I have to. I can't not include that one.
Right.
You know, for a lot of reasons. And again, like I said, it's sentimental. And the cool thing, you know, just talking with you guys on this is that, Bob, you kind of got me thinking like, hey, I need to throw some of these tracks back down to listen to in playlists. And Rich, you brought up like, you know, the different reasons why. And I think it just speaks to how influential really Aerosmith was kind of across the game in the rock scene for multiple generations.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they weren't our band. You know, Aerosmith was the old guys already when we were kids.
Right.
And now they're just getting out of it. And hell, we're all in our 40s. So
they're getting out of the game at the same time as us.
Golly, it's crazy. It really is. What a career. What an insane run. Just kind of sucks that, you know, it ends that way it does. But Rich, I know you brought up Rev X and you know, other you know, things here. Is there any other like last minute comments, memories? You know?
Well, I want to keep it sweet now. I was going to do Steven Tyler for quitting Aerosmith and going off doing American Idol and a country record, and then getting back with Aerosmith, and then they did stuff with the Republican Party too. So, but I don't want to shoot on Aerosmith too much. Let's just say that they had a fantastic career. Let's go on a high note. So it's good that they. It's good that we don't get to hear him try to sing when he can't. It's good to get out when they get good. Like you said, they had a career from the 70s to a couple of years ago. We can always go back to it. Just keep on keeping on.
And they had a kick-ass roller coaster.
Rich and Tom, they got the rhythm and the hype, talking about the noise.